This will be you by the time you're done watching this movie. Like, I didn't know what to expect from this, but it sure as hell wasn't this. Probably a movie that's going to end up being in the top 5 of the year. Yes, it is that good. There's a lot to say about this one, to say the least, and I am super excited to say that you need to go out and see it right now. It is just as great as you've heard from the early reactions, if not even greater. This is a fantastic Alien movie, and easily the best since the second one. I'm so freaking excited to talk to you guys about it that I don't even care if it's not 31 Days of Horror, we're gonna cover it anyway. What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Animation Station. It was a fan anything and everything animation, including TV and movies as well. I'm your host, Jackson Small. Let's talk about Alien Romulus. Awesome movie is what I'm going to say. It's an awesome movie. It's one of the scariest movies I've seen in years, and it is easily the best Alien film that we have gotten in decades. Like, for so long, we have been stuck with mediocrity after terrible, after mediocrity after terrible. Like, we have been stuck, we have been starved as Alien fans for so long to actually get another good movie. Like, how'd it go again? Let's see. We had the original, one of my favorite horror movies of all time. We had the sequel, a little bit overrated, but still really good in its own right. Then 3 was a mess, but it had its moments and some creativity. Then Resurrection was garbage. Resurrection was so bad. Then there was, what came after that? Was it Prometheus? Yeah, it was Prometheus. Then there was Prometheus. It was fine. It tried to do some new things, but those new things didn't work. Then we had Alien Covenant, which was trash. And of course, let's not forget the Alien vs. Predator movies, where the first one, decent little action movie. And then the second one, shite. Grade A Alien shite. So, needless to say, we have been starved as Alien fans for years to get another good movie in this franchise. And it finally happened this year. Thanks to director Fede Alvarez. And this brand new movie that is everything that fans could ever want. But not quite perfect. So let me get this out of the way. I know Fede Alvarez is the one that directed the 2013 remake of Evil Dead, a movie that I was not a big fan of, and I consider it the worst of that franchise. But I still gave it its due. It was still a good movie. I just wasn't really as high on it as most people. But when I heard that he was the one that was going to be creating this new Alien film, like, yes, give me that now. Like, that's a perfect pairing. Not to mention the practical body horror and gore of that movie is going to transition perfectly into the Alien franchise. Like, it's a match made in horror heaven is what I'm saying, and it works out so freaking well. I have a pretty lengthy written review for this one. I promise you, it's spoiler-free for the most part. But before I even get into that, just know firsthand, super positive review, and you need to see this movie now. Here's my written review. I hope you guys enjoy. Well, the early reactions weren't lying about this one. Not only is this one of the best installments of the Alien franchise in years, but I'd go so far as to say it's one of the best horror movies I've seen in the past decade. What an outstanding film. Pros, phenomenal acting, especially David Johnson, who I'd argue is downright Oscar-worthy. Jaw-dropping practical effects and set design. Like, thank you. Practicals over digitals. Thank you. Excellent characters. I like all these characters. Like, none of them were boring to me. Aside from one, and we'll get to him. But aside from that, most of the cast of this movie, I really liked them. I really liked their characters, and I understood what they were going through, and I actually wanted them to survive. In other words, you're doing good things in your horror movie. Superb, extremely gory kills, including the best chest burster reveal since the original. I will stand by this. The gore in this movie is freaking phenomenal, dude. Like, It's not as wild or nuts as it was in Evil Dead 2013, but it is still very gory. It is still very violent, and you see a lot of practical gory effects. And it is glorious. Like, you're a gore hound, this will definitely satisfy you. I mean, it'll take a little bit, but it'll satisfy you when the kills start coming. Terrifying atmosphere that feels right at home with the first two movies. Like, this nails feeling exactly like the first two movies did. Feeling like a genuine Alien movie. Fantastic tension. The tension and suspense in this movie is incredible. Like, this is the kind that most indie movies get right, but most Hollywood movies drop the ball on. This has it has great suspension, it has great tension, and it has some great scares that even caught me, a horror veteran, off guard. Genuine scares that are actually effective. This movie is actually scary. Like, I kid you not, this movie is actually scary. Which, in your horror movie, I know that this may sound like an oxymoron, but nowadays in horror movies, that seems like something a lot of people don't do right. You know, outside the indie horror scene, but they're their own separate thing. This is a minuscule budget, but still big company release that is actually scary. Already a win in my book, if you ask me. Outstanding sound design. The sound design feels like it's right out of the first two movies, and everything. It even got some lost sounds from the original two movies' original recordings in this movie. Like, talk about paying homage in the best way possible to what came before it. Amazing freaking job there. Perfect slow burn pacing. This movie is slow, and it is going to take a while for the aliens to show up, but once they do, it is 100% worth it. Like, absolutely worth it. Stellar cinematography. Cinematography here is absolutely stellar in every single way. It feels like an alien movie, and it looks like an alien movie. It is claustrophobic. It makes you feel exactly like the characters do, where there's no way out and you have to find a way around this thing. Not to mention, another reason why this is scary, because until the end of the movie, there's no guns. Like, none. Like, you know that one mission in Aliens Colonial Marines that everyone was praising, where it takes away your gun and you're against an enemy that you can't defeat? This is pretty much that mission personified for the majority of the movie. Because nobody has a gun, the only weapon they have is a taser, and it ramps up that tension high, because you have no idea when this alien is going to show up. You have no idea if the character is even going to get out of this alive. Like, in other words, again, it's doing everything a horror movie is supposed to do. And I give it so much credit for that. Massive amount of respect for the source material and some very nostalgic references, including a cool little Easter egg from Alien Isolation. Yeah, I know about the phone booth. I'm not gonna mince words about it because Creative Assembly themselves talked about it in a post on their social media. There is a scene in this movie that has a cameo from the phone booth from the video game Alien Isolation. That goes to show you how much the people behind this movie did their homework. One of the most unexpected and bone-chilling final acts of the entire year. Like, just when you thought the movie was over, there's still another act after that. And that act had my jaw on the floor pretty much the entire time. I understand it's going to be a little bit controversial what they do, and it is very ballsy, but in my opinion, it worked tremendously, and I think that second ending was actually better than its first ending. Like, final act of this movie, dude, is so damn good. It is so damn good. One of the most badass moments of the year in the zero gravity scene. I'm not going to say anything more than that, because any more than that is going to be a spoiler, but when it gets to a scene with zero gravity, it is some of the coolest freaking things I have seen in a horror movie this year. That scene is badass. Excellent runtime of just barely over 2 hours. Like, this movie is like, what, hour 40 minutes or something? Like, it's barely over 2 hours, and yet it doesn't feel like 2 hours. Like, it flies by pretty quick. Yeah, towards the end I felt it a little bit because there was 2 different endings, but outside of that, like, I didn't feel the runtime for pretty much a majority of this movie, and that is really saying something. Not to mention, this just came out, like, what, a week after Borderlands, which was a drag despite being shorter runtime-wise? It blows my mind, man. Ridiculously high rewatchability. I'm going to be rewatching this a ton alongside the original 2 Alien movies. Like, this, in my opinion, is the true Alien 3. Masterclass direction from Fede Alvarez. This guy is a veteran and knows exactly what he's doing, and his direction here is masterful. Absolutely masterful. In full undivided immersion from beginning to end. With some of these kind of movies, like, it'll have me immersed in some spots, and then other spots I'll be, like, just a little bit out of it, you know? It's not entirely the movie's fault all the time. Sometimes it's maybe, like, it's running very long, or the theater's super quiet, or, you know, stupid things like that. But my point is, I was immersed from beginning to end in this movie. I didn't look at my phone once. I didn't look away from the screen once. Like, I was 100% invested in what was going on, and I did not want to take my eyes off the screen. That being said, though, like I said, it's not perfect, because I do have 2 little nitpicks, and they are really nitpicks. I absolutely love this movie. The cons of this movie are as such. There is one forced line towards the end calling back to Aliens. I'm not going to say what it is. It's the line that you think they're going to say. It's the, oh, hey, they said the thing moment, but the delivery of the line, forced. And the main antagonist is a little bit flat. I'm not sure if I can say who the actual protagonist is, because I didn't even watch a trailer for this thing, but the main antagonist itself, well, it's a great callback and a way to tie itself into the original 2 movies. It could have been executed a little better. Overall, though, this movie is an absolutely must-see for both horror fans and especially the die-hard Alien fanatics who've been starved for good installments in this franchise for decades. Dark, scary, terrifying, bone-chilling, effective, unrelenting, and heart-pounding, Alien Romulus stands tall as a rebirth of a beloved IP alongside Prey, and is easily one of the best requels ever made to date. Watch this film now. Watch it now. Final verdict for Alien Romulus is an easy, high, and well-deserved 9.5 out of 10. One of the best movies of the year, one of the best horror movies of the year, and you need to see it immediately. Awesome freaking movie, man. And we finally have another good Alien movie. And if Fede Alvarez gets to come back and continue doing this franchise, we could be in for something amazing. So yeah, pretty much safe to say, it's a pretty damn good time to be an Alien fan. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Please check out this movie. Absolutely watch this movie. It is one of the must-see movies of the year. And I'll see you in the next review.